Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 5 reasons why I think you should be reading Kaiju number 8. Yeah, look. So today we were supposed to drop a new anime talk. I fell asleep early, thus me and Crystal were not able to record. But it's okay because we're still gonna give you some anime and manga content today. You're gonna get the 5 reasons why I think you should be reading Kaiju number 8, especially since the new chapter drops in 3 days. So this will get you ready, get you caught up. But before we get into those 5 reasons why, let me give you just a brief synopsis of the story. Nothing spoiler wise, nothing crazy. So basically, this story follows a gentleman who is of late in his later years. He is a cleanup man for his society, which is ravaged by kaijus. So after the defense force comes in, destroys the kaiju, he cleans up the remains. His goal was always to be in said defense force. An event happens to where he rescues one of his crew members' life in the cleanup agency, thus pushing him to finally live out his dream to become a member of the Defense Corps. But lo and behold, on his journey to signing up for it, while he was in the hospital recovering from injuries with that said event, he ends up swallows a tiny kaiju, thus making him someone who can turn into a kaiju. Yes, that's the shonen aspect of it. That's his power. He can turn into a humanoid kaiju. So, and it's his journey to join the defense squad while keeping all of this hidden. And yeah, that's pretty much the story. And I think it's super dope. But let me not just say it's super dope. Let's get descriptive. I'm going to tell you the top 5 reasons why I think you should be reading Kaiju number 8. So let's start it off. I go from 1 to 5. Let's start it off with number 1. So that main character I'm talking about, Mr. Kafka, he isn't your typical high school student. Kafka is 32 years old, which is not your typical shonen MC. And to me, it's super interesting because he's in his career. He hates what he's doing. He didn't follow his dream, but this event happens and it's giving him a second chance, and it shows that it's never too late to follow your dreams. It's very relatable for a manga fan who's out of high school, who may be into college and getting on into your latter years. It's something that we can relate to as fans, where not saying that we can't relate to the other shonen stuff. It's just, it's not likely in the realm of possibility due to the fact that they're high school kids, but you can reflect on that time and see your I guess your experience and kind of related to that. But this is something that can be in the present, in the now. So that's number 1. It's a new take on a shonen MC, and it's very interesting that this is in Shonen Jump. So that's something that I really, really like. Let's get to number 2. So number 2, the artwork. The artwork is phenomenal. It's beautifully done. I do not want to butcher the mangaka's first name, so I'm just gonna call him by his last name. Matsumoto kills it. Shout out to Matsumoto Sensei. We appreciate you, brother. It is dope as hell. Like, seeing the different exosuits, seeing how the defense squad looks, seeing the different monsters and the intricacies of how he draws his kaiju. Everything is beautiful, and the art alone would make you want to buy a poster. As you can see some of the images crawling across the screen. One of mine was, I believe it was the color spread for chapter 5 or 6, where we see one of our characters in there. I don't want to, well, I can spoil it, because like Kikora Shimoya, Shimoya, we see her in, like, just, you're seeing it right now with the cross, and then her holding the gun. Such beautiful color spread, and that artwork is littered throughout the series. So if anything, that's number 2. So let's get to number 3. You know me, if you listen to Anime Talk, or if you listen to any of our content, I'm big on story. I'm a big story guy. And the story I know is seemingly something similar to maybe an Attack on Titan. Some could maybe say One Punch Man. But being that the main character transforms into an evil creature and the cast is hunting, but even though it takes some I guess inspiration from Attack on Titan, maybe a little One Punch Man, I like the sci-fi nature of the story. The whole idea of these exosuits and these humans working together to defeat kaiju with their super-powered high-tech suits and their guns. It's super dope to me. Like, granted, and Attack on Titan takes a more mythological approach, a more fantastical approach with the 3D gear and the Titans, and it looks like it's in like this medieval city, where this is like, no, we're in like a couple years into the future, and we're rocking exosuits, and it's badass to me. The aesthetic of it all, the ideas of some of the characters that they introduce, and just the way that the character Kafka looks when he goes into his kaiju form. I think the story is intriguing enough to where it hooks you. It's a man trying to follow his dream. Yes, that's something we've seen before, but the approach in which they're doing it is different, and that is something that I can respect. Let's get to number 4. And speaking of kaiju, that's reason number 4. I love the idea because it's fresh. Yeah, we've seen titans. Yeah, we've seen hollows, tailed beasts, demons, monsters. I can go on and on. But it's something about having a manga that zeroes in on a iconic part of Japanese culture, which is kaiju. And it just reminds me of things like Mothra, Godzilla. It gives you those vibes, and maybe we can see some iconic kaiju in this story. Granted, his monsters look completely different than what we're used to, but it gives me hope. It gives me hope. And that alone, number 4. So let's get to number 5. And number 5, if you know, story, huge. Characters. I love the characters. I know we're only 8 chapters in, but these characters are interesting. I've already told you about Kafka, the fact that he's a man who's failed at his career. He didn't end up chasing his dream, but now he's going at it for a second chance. He's going to do it. I love that about him. I love his characterization. Then we have his partner or sidekick, Ichikawa. Ichikawa kind of goes with this Genos vibe, where he was a douche at first, and then an event happened, and Kafka saves his life. And then Ichikawa starts being a cool guy. We see he's good deep down in his heart, and he just wants to help and make a difference in his society. And I dig Ichikawa. You know, he's probably the most bland character that we know the most about, but I think there's room to grow, and I think there's room to love Ichikawa. So the next character we got is Mina Ashiro, the badass captain of the defense squad. She's the strongest member we've seen, and it's something about just having badass females in your story that I love. It just diversity and everything like that. But she's this standoff girl who was, when you see her in the backstory, her and Kafka were friends. They had a connection. There's something there to that. How did she become so cold? What changed her approach? Because when she sees him, she doesn't even recognize him. She doesn't even want to acknowledge him. And that's something that's shocking, because when you look at the flashbacks, it's like, whoa, y'all had a relationship. Like, what are we talking about? Like, y'all were childhood friends. You can't even acknowledge him. So what made you so cold? I want to know, girl. We're trying to help you out here. You know what I mean? So I love that about her. And then the final character that I really want to mention that I think is a selling point, I mentioned her earlier in her cover spread, Kikoru Shimoya. I'm gonna just call her Shinmoya or Shino Mia. I'm just call her Mia. Yeah, we're just gonna call her Mia, because like some of these names are hard to pronounce. But Mia, I really like her. She's another badass female character. She is striving for perfection due to the fact that her father is the commander of the entire defense squad, and he, since birth, has trained her to be this high combat killing machine that should strive for perfection every stick of the board. And the thing about that is, it's I hope she joins the gang of Ishikawa and Kafka, because it can show that we can see some of the humanization of her in the future story parts. We can see that the story arc of, you don't have to be perfect to be successful. You don't have to be perfect to be a good human, and humans can't define perfection. So all the different story beats that surround the idea of perfection really intrigue me with Mia's character, and I dig it, man. I love her. She's badass. I'm gonna put some art in behind of her destroying one of the monsters, but everything about her super dope. But yeah, man, those are the 5 reasons I think you should be reading Kaiju number 8. Again, we will be doing the review for it in 3 days. Be sure to check that out. If you're watching this on the channel, if you love movies and comic books, be sure to check out a show we got called Bros Who Binge. It's super dope. Also, every Thursday, we drop the Bros Who Think podcast, the main show on our channel, where we discuss everything in pop culture. But Anime Talk will be out this week. Hopefully, By the time you guys hear this, it is out on Wednesday. If everything goes accordingly, if not, it'll be out later in the week. But you guys will get Anime Talk. You can follow me at LinBWT. Follow the Bros Who Think for all information on all these shows I've just mentioned and any further video content. And be sure to subscribe to YouTube. Thank you, thank you, thank you to everybody who watched this video. I love having you in the community, and I can't wait to talk Kaiju number 8 with you guys as we go on this journey through this story. But until next time, peace.